Merry meet and welcome to Plant-Based Laughter. I'm Taylor and today we're going to be taking on the Knafeh. I'm very excited to make this just because it sounds so good and it just sounds right up my alley. I do have the veganized recipe linked below. I wanted to make sure to do this right since it is a more cultural food. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and jump right in. I was able to find mine already chopped, so I don't need to chop it further. So I'm gonna go ahead, melt my butter, and then we'll check in with you real soon when we are mixing the dough. Merry meet and welcome again. So here we are, we got our melted butter. It's just easier to go ahead and put the bowl in there first and melt the butter over that versus having to pour it all on top after and melting it in another bowl. So here we go. This is our pound of dough. Chopped and dried. I don't lose any of it, but this definitely was not the best way to unpackage this. So please hold while we go ahead, have some technical difficulties, and I'll be right back. Oh my gosh. It's so much. Oh no, this is the biggest bowl I have. Oh no. Okay. I have the hiccups, so I apologize if you get to hear that. This is about half. And it said to use a whole pound. Didn't it? Didn't it? Yeah. This is a whole pound for 1 cup. This is the biggest bowl I have. This is like half. I am nervous. Now I'm like, I could have done half a cup, you know, done them in processes. And it would have been perfect because we're supposed to do half layer of the cheese that we're about to make. You'll see that in a second. And then the other half of this. But yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm making a mess. So I'm just trying to get this a little bit more mixed. It says it's best to do it with your fingers to make sure. So just kind of like pie dough or the Xanatar Maniquiche, I'll have that linked. How it's just whenever you're doing a kind of dough with butter, it's best to try to roll it. Is this a little sticky and a little pokey? Yes. So I would tell you to be careful about that. Oh my gosh, that's just butter bowl right there. Okay, so this is essentially all that we are doing for this step. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this, try to conquer my fear of adding the whole bag, and we will check in with you soon. Merry meet again. So as you can see, we still like haven't really adjusted. We just took out with editing magic all of the mixing that we did, but we have it here. So I definitely recommend doing it by hand because that's the only way you're gonna like get those clumps out of the way. And see, there's still gonna be like some, but there's really not that much butter. So you do want to make sure that you are kind of coating each strand. So it's a little bit difficult to kind of like see that, but also to like make sure you feel all of it. We managed to get the whole bowl in here, so that was good. What we're going to do now, I'm going to be using a pie tin personally. I'm realizing I didn't grease it separately, so I'm gonna do that first, just put some oil down on it, and then I'm going to take half of this dough and smash it into it. And you're gonna see that a little bit later just because we kind of have to clean up and I didn't prep well, so I apologize. But we'll go ahead, clean this up a little bit, get that first half pressed, and then I'm going to show you the cheese. Merry meet again. So we did finish mixing all of it together. You can kind of see here, I just wanted to show you. So we greased up these pie pans. I do not have a large enough pan is what I realized, so I probably could have just done half this recipe, but what we'll do is hopefully just get 2. So I'm happy about that and it'll still be a good time. So we are just, I'm kind of like, do I have enough butter? But then I'm like, I'm just following the recipe, you know, like nothing we can do. So I'm trying to press this down and then press it also into the sides of it. And then we're going to go ahead, make the cheese. Since we're not using I'll talk about it in a moment, but we're not using tapioca starch, so we won't get the stretch. So it just needs to go in the center. And that's essentially just what we're doing here, is we are just trying to get these to where they can go in the center, and then we'll cover the cheese with the rest of the dough, and we will bake it, and we will just have a good old time, and it should work out. So, but as you can see, I'm pretty sure this is more the texture that you, or not texture, but like the thickness you want to go for in your pan, is that it covers it, but you're not like too upset about the sides. So this one is a little bit thinner, so we'll test that theory a little bit more, because this one is more like a pie crust, if I'm being honest. Okay, we're gonna clean our hands, and we'll be right back making the cheese. Checking with you soon. Merry meet again. So here we are. This is just to give you a little bit more about the setup for the cheese that we're going to be doing, but we're actually going to be blending it. So for my cashews, as you know, I don't have, I mean, it would get the job done, but I just like, it's easier. So let's just go ahead and do it. So it did soak my cashews. That's why they look like this right now. And we have cornstarch instead of tapioca starch, and so per her comments it says that it just doesn't get that cheesy pool, so I'm a little sad about that because I really was excited about that, but we're doing this anyway. Then we have lemon juice and salt. We also have some oil that we're going to add. It's just about 1.5 tablespoons, so I didn't want to pour it into a bowl, you know, have it stick to the bowl, so I'm just going to pour it straight from my dispenser. Yeah, with that, we're gonna go ahead, blend this all together, and I will be checking in back in with you when we're at the saucepan. Also, it says 5 cups of water, and it says it outside of the cashews, so we're doing a full 5 cups of water. My blender holds that much, so we just measured it straight into there. All right, checking with you real soon. Merry meet again. So here we are with our cheese mixture. So you can see me trying to move to get our spatula here. So we have it over medium-high heat. We're just going to constantly stir this. I'll check in with you once we are closer to that texture that we're looking for. We aren't going to get that much of a stretch. She does warn that it will end up separating a little bit, but to just keep going, keep stirring, and that's what we're going to do. So we will check in with you soon. Very exciting. Merry meet again. So here we are. Just wanted to show you, we're not going to get as much of that cheese pull, but we are definitely getting that thickness. So I'm going to go ahead, keep cooking this until maybe I reach a little bit more. But this essentially, I would not be too mad about, especially since we will still be baking it. So I just want a little bit more consistency and for it to be a little bit more cohesive, if that makes sense. But check in with you soon when we're pouring it over our toppings. Well, over our doughs. Okay, so you got some of that to see, and then this is still really hot, so I'm trying to like get the mixture. I've definitely like already made somewhat of a mess, but this is meant to finish, so we're gonna try get it. We just want to make sure that we don't overtake the edges on either of these, so that when we put some more, the other half on it, it will take, it'll connect, and this should just be a center versus anything else. Ooh, that one. We're gonna test our luck a little bit on both of these sides, but that's one of the good things about like being cohesive, is that it is more likely to stick to itself. Also, as it cools, it should thicken up the cheese a little bit as well. Worst case scenario though, we have a cheesy gooey mess. Is that really so bad? But we're gonna let this cool for about 10 minutes before we put on the other half of the dough. Check in with you soon. Merry meet again. So here we are, we have our cheeses. You might be able to see some steam still coming up, but we are going to go ahead and start putting on the second layer of dough. So we're going to do this a little bit more gently, because once it is stuck to the cheese, it's going to be significantly harder to move it back. So you can do this with your hands too. We're essentially trying to make sure it covers it and reaches out to the sides. We're going to do this for both of these, and then we're going to let it sit for about 5 more minutes. Just make sure the cheese gets a hold of these bits. That had a little bit of a butterball, so I wanted to get that more there. And then as we know that the cheese is covered, we're going to be able to, whoops, we will go ahead and be able to press down and make sure that it is more of an even layer. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit more on here because we know we need it. And we're gonna use all of this dough, and we're gonna go ahead, our oven has been preheated already at 350. So we are going to go ahead, pop these in for about 35-40 minutes. Since these are a little bit dual, we'll be just make sure to check it. Essentially, we want it to be golden brown on top. My goal is to be able to flip at least one of these over and get that really beautiful picture that we typically see with this kind of meal. Honestly, this is kind of one of my favorite doughs to work with, just because you kind of are able to just gently add pressure and fold it rather than worrying about it. So I'm gonna go ahead, finish putting these doughs on, bake it at 350 for about 40 minutes, and then we will next check in when we are actually making the syrup that we're going to drizzle on top, as well as save some to be on the side. So I will see you very soon. Merry meet again. So we're gonna get started with making the syrup. We have about a cup of water in here, and then we're going to, as with any syrups, add a whole bunch of sugar to it. I don't have a lot of raw or coconut sugar, so I added as much brown sugar as I had because it recommends that to get the beautiful caramel color. So just a little molasses there, but we're gonna go ahead and bring this to a boil. Then we're gonna add the lemon juice and allow it to simmer for 3 to 5 minutes before taking it off heat, and then adding in our orange blossom syrup flavoring. So I'm just letting you know in case I'm not able to record it because we want to be safe, but this is boiling sugar and you want to be careful. So check in hopefully with you soon. Okay, so it is not focusing, I apologize, but we have it boiling here. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead, add in that lemon juice, and then let it simmer for about 3 to 5 minutes, stirring just so that we don't continue to burn anything, and then we'll take it off the heat. Check in with you soon. Merry meet again. So here we are after baking it, so we can still kind of see. I think I probably could have gotten away with doing a little bit more butter if I'm being honest. This one we're gonna try. We have a plate underneath here. Maybe we were successful in flipping it, maybe we weren't. It's still very jiggly. So here we go. Oh. You know, this is just proof, like, just believe in yourself more. It kind of collapsed, honestly, but we're here, we did it. What we're gonna do for both of them, I personally love pistachios, so I'm just gonna put them all on top. I'm not gonna do a nice little ring or anything. I'm just going to put them all over. And then she does say to do this first, and then to go ahead and put that beautiful syrup that we made on top. So, oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how, like, I'm so proud of myself right now. I really was like, here we go. Just gonna put this there. Honestly, I have these pistachios. I did not want to chop them myself. They're already so expensive to buy. And then you have to, like, take off the shells and everything and then chop them. No, thank you. So I just went ahead and I splurged a little extra to just buy them pre-chopped. So, but my point to this being is I can add more if I really desire to. And we're going to go ahead, take some of this syrup very carefully, pour it. This one is probably going to soak in a little bit more, and then it recommends to have a bit on the side as well, so that you, oh my gosh. Well, that happened, and it's okay. We are all going to be just fine for it. But yeah, I definitely think soaking it on this side instead is the better way to go. I'm gonna go ahead, take a little taste test, clean this up, and I'll check in with you real soon. Thank you for that quick pause. This is so good. The cheese kind of reminds me, and maybe it's with the syrup being mixed with it, of like tapioca pudding, which I know is ironic because we didn't use tapioca starch, but it just gives that taste. I'm loving the texture from the phyllo dough. Just because we did not use tapioca starch, our cheese is like still super melty. I think I could have baked it for a little bit longer, which is totally valid. And I can add, it's good with more syrup, but I also could take it with less. It's honestly just a really good dish. So this has been my attempt at making Knafeh, and I wish you guys the best of luck in doing this as well. Believe in yourselves. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.